Asta is so powerful now that he can move thousands of times faster than light, blow up small planets, and has the strongest defense in the history of Black Clover. And because of this, everyone is learning Asta is him. He's gone head to head with multiple high-ranked devils, has one of the trippiest transformations in anime, and has 5 girls wanting his big black sword.
Nice.
However, one day, everything changed when this guy showed up. Lucius entering the story has completely flipped the narrative of Black Clover. In a matter of minutes, this man declares himself the ultimate wizard king, defeats Asta in seconds, and then proceeds to take his girl?
Don't kill me with this!
After being defeated by Lucius, Asta awoke in the Hino country, where he met the Ryuzen 7. They taught Asta the ability he needs to defeat Lucius, as his only weakness is physical attacks, and now he has become 100 times stronger. Ladies and gentlemen, that ability is called Zetten. However, this begs the question, how strong is Asta now, and what does 100 times stronger even look like? In chapter 339, it is stated Zetten is the process of manipulating one's ki and building up magic power throughout their body. Ryu explains that in the Hino country, a person's ki is unconsciously turned into Yoryoku, their equivalent to magic. But when someone does this consciously, they can take that energy and make it erupt in a single part of their body, producing Zetten. Asta compares the process to mana zones from the kingdom, just in this case using ki as its basis and then radiating it. He doesn't have any magic, so he has to substitute it for his anti-magic. In chapter 341, Asta learns that his new technique can be used in multiple different forms, such as someone using 50% of their power in 2 strikes, or evening it out to 20% across 5. Remember, Zetten is an ability that the best of the best Yojutsu users can spend years trying to master and never achieve. Yeah, it only took Asta a few days to learn it and then master it. This puts into perspective just how skilled Asta is, and how his usage of ki in previous arcs has been leading up to this moment. In the end, it wasn't Asta's skill or battle prowess that held him back from mastering Zetten, but his resolve and conviction. After losing to Lucius, Asta felt obsolete, stating, "I'm not gifted, I can't afford to lose, just keep getting stronger and don't lose again. If you lose, then become stronger than you were before." However, Ryu states to Asta that every once in a while his attention lapses, which gives Ichika, a member of the Ryuzen 7, the opportunity to destroy him. And that's what Lucius is doing as well. This is how the both of them defeat Asta and make him black out. Yasuga, the strongest Ryuzen, stated that Asta worries too much, and that it doesn't matter what kind of magic someone has, as Asta's Zetten can cut through it. This is because Asta's anti-magic Zetten is the strongest counter against anyone. As long as he can see his opponent's attack, it's game over and he'll win the fight.
That's why he's the GOAT!
Now, if you didn't know, this is because the proficiency with Zetten is tied to your convictions, resolve, and determination. When Asta arrives in the land of the sun, he's in a very doubtful state, believing he wasn't strong enough to beat Lucius and that he was a failure. And so, to address the weak resolve that Yasuga claimed Asta to have, in chapter 348, the Paladin Yurul manifests his greatest fear. In Asta's case, it was his doubt that he could become stronger, but with Zetten, Asta surpasses his limits and destroys this version of himself instantly. A better mental state allows someone to fight better, and Zetten is just part of that arsenal. In order to find out just how strong Asta's Zetten is, we need to do some power scaling. Let's begin with just how much faster Asta has become. Well, the fact that in episode 1, he literally traveled faster than Cat captains could register, it proves Asta was already above average. And it's hard to comprehend this, but Asta had already become faster than light by chapter 50 onwards. As Yami and Gorsh confirmed, Patry was light speed. This is before Patry's Dark Elf transformation, which made him even faster and stronger. But Asta scales higher than him many times over by the end of the Elf arc, after defeating Zagreus. However, Asta can go beyond the speed of captains before even the time skip begun. We know this by taking a look at chapter 146. At that point of time, Sisgolion was multiple times faster than light in the power scaling and launched her attack to Raya. However, Asta still managed to hit him before any of her attacks landed to save him, proving his speed was above the strongest captain before any further power-ups. If you didn't know, in Black Clover, increasing your magic means increasing your speed. So as the story goes on, these guys are getting faster and faster. Magna in chapter 124 threw fireballs at Asta so fast that he couldn't read them with his ki, which means even his fodder ass was scaling faster than light at this point, since Asta was capable of keeping up with that speed prior. And what's insane is that the Dark Triad arc displayed the difference between Magna and Dante. Magna was 500 times weaker than Dante with Lucifero at 100%. But when Nama and Lilith arrived, they made even Dante breaks in chapter 279, where chapter 280 clearly states they scale even higher than him. In fact, we are told by Nacht their power is more than just 1+1, meaning they are twice as strong as Dante with Lucifero. Thus, via Magna's graph, he could be 2,000 times weaker than their fusion transformation at a minimum. And guess what? Asta's imperfect devil union was keeping up with those supreme devils and eventually killed them, which meant he was already scaling thousands of times more than Magna or every other magic knight before mastering his devil union transformation, which essentially means Asta can attack hundreds of times faster than light. And now you have to include Zetten, which boosts it 100 times more. To put this further into perspective, we've seen Asta outperform everyone with his ancient demon attack in the Clover Kingdom. Sisgolion's brand new Hellfire spell was introduced, which increases her power with each passing second. Knowing that Asta's devil union has a 30-minute cooldown, we can assume she had been fighting for that long. Asta speed blitzed the demon in a single clean slice, no problemo, whilst the others needed 30 minutes to fight the same demon. Asta only needed 30 seconds if we're lowballing, which means Sisgolion took 60 times longer to beat the same opponent. However, Asta's gap becomes even bigger, as all the captains combined can't even cast spells, let alone react to Lucifero's speed when he is introduced. Lucifero is hundreds of times stronger than any other supreme devil, and during their first encounter in chapter 317, Asta without his union couldn't react before he teleported to him. But in contrast, when Master Devil Union was achieved, Asta had increased his speed to the point where a distraction or helping hand wasn't even needed from the others, unlike before. So by logic, Asta must be going thousands of times faster than light for the story to make sense. This further proves that Asta will be the one to defeat Lucius and become the Wizard King. Asta has affected every single timeline with just his very existence. Learn every moment by watching the next video.